some kind of differences in my voice today. I'm not feeling very well. But even though I wanted to come and spend my afternoon with you guys, you are my beloved listeners, and I would love to spend a good time with you. Of course, you are listening to Learning is Gaining with Shahd Salha, and Iman FM is on 103.1 FM, and the studio hotline 0114242520, and the WhatsApp is 078855998786. Facebook Iman FM Radio. Of course, I'm not going live today for two reasons. The first reason, my mobile phone, iPhone, has been stolen last week, and this new Microsoft phone doesn't allow me to go live on my Facebook. And the other reason is I'm not feeling very well, so I don't want you to to see me while I'm ill. So I think Shahid is doing very well. Can I help you with this? Yeah.
Yeah, you are live on Facebook and YouTube as well.
All right, so I am live on Facebook and YouTube. So I didn't know.
Iman TV web page.
It's Iman TV. That's great. So they, Shahidi was able to kick it on and go take me live on Facebook and on Iman Radio. That's great. So good news then. So you are listening to Iman FM on the radio, Iman FM on 103.1 FM, and of course you are listening to me via live via Iman TV and the Iman YouTube channel. For everyone listening to me now, I would like to listen with you to Maher Zain, and I've chosen a nice list of nasheeds today. Of course, I shall remind you that although we are, I was going with a specific kind of like a method to start learning from Quran's surahs. However, today I thought it's very important to speak about the drums a little bit, and I have a very nice lady with me today. We'll speak after about Maxine after the nasheed. So here we are.
يا رسول الله 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 طاهر القلب
مولاي صلي دائما أبدا، اللهم صلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. Again, I'm so sorry for my voice today, but at least I am, with you and I'm presenting, so that might give me some kind of credit. Again, you are listening to Iman FM on 103.1 FM, and we are live at Iman Radio and Iman YouTube. Today my guest is Maxine Polar, and Maxine is a community worker and a long-standing champion against racism, oppression, poverty and war. She is a member of the executive of Sheffield Trades Union Council, part of the Stand Up to Racism, and has been involved in setting up the Stand Up to Trump coalition. Of course, I know Maxine since a long time. First time I met Maxine, it was in 2011. A few days before my Viva, for my PhD Viva, and I was working to support Talha al-Mallouhi. We had a demonstration. I was planning for a demonstration to support Talha al-Mallouhi. Talha al-Mallouhi is one of the Syrian young bloggers. She was against al-Assad, and she wrote a poetry in her blog. That's why she has been arrested by al-Assad intelligence at that time. That was in the beginning of 2011, while the uprising started in the Arab world. So I met Maxine. She was in a great solidarity. She helped me a lot in that demonstration. I didn't know anything about demonstration before. I was a human rights activist, yes, but I wasn't aware how to organize the event and what to do. We didn't have many people around, but she helped to talk to people, even those people who were just passing us. We were in the city hall. I think Maxine remember when she comes. We can just remind each other without event. It was life events in my life, because it was the first time in my life where I stand in a demonstration. Of course, Maxine before invited me to speak up in an event she organized herself, and I spoke up about what's happening in Syria at that time. That was 2011. So practically, after I involved heavily in the human rights support and different kind of organizations such as Syria Relief and Hand in Hand, I became very busy, so I didn't get in touch with Maxine. I worked with Maxine as well when the Labour in the allocation to vote for Labour Party in Sheffield. I think that was 2011 as well. So the time passed very quickly, and we met again in the city hall in Sheffield a few weeks ago. as she was standing against Trump. Maxine is a wonderful woman, and I'm really glad to know her. And I think she will be here in the studio with us very soon, maybe in a few minutes. Maxine was able to encourage lots of people to speak up. She was able to encourage lots of people to demonstrate. She organized events, and as far as I am aware, she helped lots of people, including myself, to settle in Sheffield. So yes, Maxine is a woman. I would call her, I call her a very strong woman, and she's a woman which I am proud to know her and to learn from her. Maxine today will speak with me to you about so Donald Trump, and we will discuss with her what is her position. And hey, Maxine is here. Hello, Maxine. So we will discuss with Maxine, her events and what's going around, and we'll discuss with her the Trump actions in the world and where we will go from there until Maxine settle, and then we prepare her location for the going on air. I will listen with you to this nice sheet. Uh, Assalamu alaikum again, and here we are. I have Maxine with me in the studio. I will give the mic to Maxine to introduce herself. Hello, Maxine. How are you, sweetheart?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I'm really well. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for inviting me to come to your program.
No, you're most welcome. Maxine, do you want to tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I suppose I'm a community activist, really. I've always been very, very strong on opposition to racism, all forms of oppression, and I'm opposed to war, really. And I suppose for many years I've been involved in anti-racist activities, from the Anti-Nazi League many years ago to today, heading up Stand Up to Racism in Sheffield, but also I'm involved in the Stand Up to Trump, which we just launched this week, because we obviously think that Trump is a real problem. Well, you know.
It is a big problem, actually. I met you a few weeks ago near the City Hall, about a couple of weeks ago, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us, I know a little bit about the event, and I think my people would love to know
Well,
what is the event?
I think we've had 3 big events now, which have been protests against Trump. Firstly, we had a protest when he was inaugurated. And secondly, we had a protest when he announced that he was going to ban people from coming into America from the 6 Muslim countries. So the Muslim ban, really. So that was the biggest protest, because people were just outraged. And I think there was the picture from the top of the town hall implied it was something like 3,500 people, which really, they came out at 24 hours notice, which is a big demonstration for Sheffield. And then we had another one on the town hall, the City Hall steps. So we've had 3 protests, and we've got another one tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, I am aware. I'm going to be there as well. Now let's go to the root of the events and see why you are against Trump, and what is your stand?
Trump didn't actually take the majority vote in America. It's a quirk of the American electoral system that means that he actually was elected because of the way in which they weighed the different states. And also, a vast bulk of people in America don't vote. And they don't vote because they didn't think they had any choice, really, between the two of them. But Trump is a real dangerous character. I think he's a real maverick, but very dangerous. I wouldn't say he was a fascist, because I don't believe he is, but some of the people who are part of his cabinet are called the alternative right, and they are fascists. And he gives confidence to every racist around the world. And we have problems in this country as it stands. In America, I think it's even worse. Every racist thinks it's open season, really, to spit at women, to pull their headscarves. And I think there's a bit of a whiff of the 1930s about it, the idea that really immigrants are the problem. And I mean, this is nonsense, isn't it? America was, of all countries in the world, has been built by waves of immigrants. And this country was as well. And if we hadn't had immigration into this country or into America, then neither of the countries would be great countries, really. And I just think he's now got this policy of America first, he says. And everything he talks about is about whipping up racism, about building walls, about banning Muslims, about making them Muslims be on a register, very similar to the kind of thing that was done in the 1930s in Nazi Germany, when people were forced to wear stars. These are the same kind of things, and I watched him. He had a big rally last night in Florida, and he'd got people, blacks for Trump, behind the back of him. It was like he'd set it up, really, to do this, right? Because most black people in America did not vote for Trump. Actually, most of them didn't vote, to be honest. Lots of people just feel completely disenfranchised. I think he's a real danger, but I tell you, I think we're putting him on the back foot as well. And that's important, which is why it's important to keep demonstrating against him. And tomorrow's demonstration is because there was a petition of 1.8 million people petitioned to say we don't want him to come to this country. And it's supposed to be debated tomorrow in Parliament. And I'm sure Theresa May, I mean, we call her Theresa the Appeaser now, because the 2 people you've seen meeting Donald Trump, who are they? Netanyahu and Theresa May. I mean, 2 of the most odious characters you can think of are there cuddling up to Trump. To be honest, it's a disgrace that they're doing those things, really. Yeah.
Why do you think Theresa May would take that position?
I think she's pretty right wing anyway. I mean, look at what she's just done. The Dubs Amendment was the amendment that was passed by Lord Alf Dubs, asking for unaccompanied children to be allowed into this country, and she has just rescinded it. Because she doesn't care about unaccompanied children. I don't know if people saw the programme on BBC this week. There's 25,000 unaccompanied orphan children in Europe at the moment. And they showed you the plight of one family. And those kids turned up at a camp and they had frostbite. And their parents had frozen to death. I mean, it was... made you want it made me cry watching it, really. I mean, it's just so appalling. But Theresa May don't care, because this is about making sure the rich and powerful keep their money, and while they can scapegoat and blame refugees or get us all fighting amongst ourselves, they're quite happy. And Trump, he's not anti-establishment, he's a multi-millionaire, isn't he? I mean, you know, the idea he's anti-establishment, but he is a misogynist, he's a racist, he's a climate change denier, and also he's now, I mean, I saw him with Netanyahu, and he's now saying to Netanyahu he believes in one state, but not the kind of one state whole and free for the Palestinians that many of us would believe in. He wants one state for Israel. So he is somebody we must oppose every inch of the way, because he gives succor to every vile misogynist racist across the world, and we must oppose him.
Do you agree with me, Max, that we are experiencing these days a phenomenon of Trump?
Oh, we are. I mean, I think there was... after the voting on Brexit, we saw a rise in hate crime in this country. I mean, look at the stuff in Rotherham, you know, the Rotherham 12 stuff, you know. The fascists are coming back again here into Rotherham again next week, because they want to whip up racism. They do. And then they encourage racism. I mean, the murder of Mohsin Ahmed in Rotherham, you know, an old man going to pray, he's, you know, pounded to death by, and it's racially motivated, you know, there's no doubt about these things. So there's definitely an increase in racist abuse. And because he won in the election, people think it's acceptable. I mean, I don't know if you saw the stuff on the radio today about Diane Abbott. She said she has never had so much vile racism. Them talking about her as a monkey, talking about hanging her, talking about raping her. These are abusive messages she's been getting through in a way that, you know, I think when she first came into politics, she was probably one of the first black MPs, and this is the worst abuse that she's had, and that is to do with the right feel confident that they can do this. This is why most people, I believe, do not accept these ideas. But we need to make sure that those people are mobilised to do something about it, else they will win. And I think there's a real battle on at the moment.
Yes, there is a real battle, and I believe there is kind of culture of hate.
Yes.
What do you think the role of media in increasing the culture of hate, Maxine?
I think that I think they need to be much harder against it, really. I don't think they allow things that I don't think are acceptable, things that I think are virtually incitement to racial hatred. And I think they need to be much harder against it. None of us have an interest in this kind of stuff. We are a diverse country. Whatever you say. Now, some people obviously would like it to become just white Aryan again, but actually it never really was that, you know. It never ever was that. I mean, this country will have been connected to France. The idea that there's this pure British person is a nonsense, really. And we all came from Africa anyway, so... so
it's
yes.
It's very hard to agree on the fact that there is a pure, you know, pure element in every one of us. We are a mixture, isn't it?
That's right.
We are from different backgrounds. We mix together and we married from each other. So there is no...
And that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, of course.
That's a strength, isn't it?
It is indeed. So we exchange the powerful things. We shall go to the advertisement now, Max, and then the news. After that, we'll come back to you, sweetheart. So, my listeners, you are listening to Iman FM, and the show is Learning with Gaining with Shahd, Salha, and my guest is amazing lady, Maxine here. We'll go to the advertisement now and then the news and come back again to you.
Your voice, your choice. You are listening to Radio Iman on 103.1 FM.
The message of Ahlul Bayt. قال النبी मन माता बिहुब्बे आले मुहम्मदिन माता शहीदा जो कोई मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद की मोहब्बत में मरा उसने शहादत पा ली. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesday 8 to 10 p.m. only on Iman FM.
In the city of Sheffield, if you ever have an accident, do not fear. Mr. Compensator is here. He can provide you with a taxi, prestige, or 4x4 replacement vehicle in just 2 hours. Call 0114 3863 386 or visit mrcompensator.co.uk and let the experts manage your claim.
जरा गड्डी रोको ये क्या भीड़ भड़क नजर आ रहा है
हवलदार साहब ये सब जायका के लिए आए हैं
वो जायका
ये लोग जायका टेक अवे के जायकेदार खानों का जायका लेने आए हुए हैं फिश मसाला नान चिकन टिक्का नान लैम्ब टिक्का नान शीश टिक्का नान
वह मैं सद के जाऊं वो जायका कबाब्स एंड स्वीट्स पर
जायका से ताजा मिठाइयां और कढ़ाई गोश्त भी मिलता है
Zaika Kebab and Sweets 2 to 4 Chippingham Place Sheffield telephone 01142425 800 Zaika also at 66 Wellgate Rotherham telephone 01709 300 400
Assalamu alaikum, this is Khalil Mohammed coming to you with an urgent appeal. One Community has established the first Islamic education deaf special educational needs center where deaf Muslims and non-Muslims can attend Islamic classes to learn more about Islam using sign language.
However, this center is under serious threat and we need your Qarz-e Hasna, a beautiful loan, and your zakat to help us keep it open. Please visit our website islamfordeaf.co.uk, that's Islam, FORDEAF.co.uk, or give us a call on 0121 291 7847.
Do you suffer from baldness? At Cosmetica Clinics, we may have a permanent solution for you. Our experienced team provides perfect hair transplantation with maximum density and natural results. Over 15 years experience. Get your hair back with the latest microfew transplantation and stem cell support. No scars, no stitches, pain-free process. Book your appointment today by visiting cosmetica.com or via WhatsApp or Viber on 0739 339 1024.
Equity Law Chambers Solicitors. When your rights are at stake, you need experienced defense lawyers. The law firm of Equity Law. Our experienced team of professionals can assist you in all matters, including family law, immigration, criminal law, drug offences, road traffic cases, fraud and money laundering. Call us today for expert advice on 01709 36 86 03 or visit us at elc-solicitors.co.uk. Equity Law Chamber Solicitors, advocating your rights.
Had an accident, not your fault. Khan Solicitors, a team of professionals dedicated to winning you 100% compensation with free advice and assistance. Over 15 years of experience assisting you with road traffic accidents, trips, slips, employer's liability. We can recover your uninsured losses, i.e. vehicle damage, recovery, storage and loss of earnings. Khan Solicitors, 351 Abbeydale Road, Sheffield. Come see us or call 0114 258 3399 or visit khansolicitors.com. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Iman FM. Time for the news.
Into the abuse MPs face because she claims it's putting people off entering politics. Diane Abbott's revealed the emotional impact of the attacks that she's received.
Rape threats, people saying I should be hanged. And I thought to myself, had I known it would be like this 30 years on from being elected, I'd have thought twice for running for Parliament at all.
She also says the abuse has prompted her to review her personal security and at her home. Thousands of prison officers are being given an immediate pay rise to try to avert a crisis in jails. But the Prison Officers Association says it's a knee-jerk reaction that will upset those who don't get one. A senior Republican has warned Donald Trump suppressing the free press is how dictators get started. Senator John McCain's intervention follows another fierce attack on the media by the US president. Charities are warning hundreds of thousands of children are trapped in West Mosul, where Iraqi forces have begun an operation to force out IS fighters. Mosul, in the north of the country, is the last stronghold of the Islamic State group in Iraq. In sport, this afternoon's FA Cup football's getting underway. Fulham host Tottenham in the fifth round. Later, Manchester United are at another Championship side, Blackburn. United take a 3-0 lead to Saint Etienne in the Europa League on Thursday before next Sunday's League Cup final with Southampton. Boss Jose Mourinho says he's put those two competitions ahead of the FA Cup before and didn't feel good about it.
I go serious. I'm going to change a few players, obviously, but I'm going with a good team because I respect the competition a lot, and Man United demands that you go serious to every game.
In the Scottish Premiership, Aberdeen are looking to consolidate second place at Kilmarnock, but they're 1-0 down there heading into the second half. Rangers are at Dundee later. From Sky News, I'm Tanya Snuggs.
Thank you, Tanya, for the news, and you are listening to Iman FM on 103.1 FM, and the studio hotline is 01142425 and the WhatsApp 0788559986. And of course, you are listening to you can see us on Iman TV live, and Iman, you can listen to us in Iman FM radio, and follow us on Twitter at Iman FM 1031, and we have a YouTube channel. And I am sorry again for my voice today. I don't feel very well, Maxine. It seems there is a problem going around. There is a lot of people are not feeling very well, ill. Maxine, what is your comment on the news you've heard?
Well, Diane Abbott was on there, wasn't she? The stuff about the rising abuse against her and feeling insecure.
Yeah.
I mean, that, to be honest, the problem is that's what a lot of people feel like, isn't it? They feel that they're more likely to be abused on the buses, more likely to be attacked. And it doesn't necessarily mean people put their heads up. You can end up putting your head down and feel really frightened by it. But the problem is they win then if we don't all stand together, because actually I think most people are appalled by what Trump's doing. I mean, I've had some of the best conversations I've had with people about racism and why we must oppose it. And I think that's true in many, many workplaces. And I said earlier on about 3,500 people turning out at 24 hours notice. That's a real people are really motivated against him, aren't they? And they really think he is a danger. And, we can't sit on our laurels. We can't sit back waiting to see what happens. We need to pursue him every inch of the way, because we will see more of this unless we stand up and be counted. And I think that now is a very, very important time for us, really. The best people in the world, the people who care about humanity, who want to celebrate our diversity, who understand really all the things that this country have gained from immigration. Curry is the number one food in this country, and it didn't come from here. So that's a silly little thing, really, but this is about lots of other things. Our language actually contains all sorts of things from other countries. And actually, you look at our health service. The people who work in our health service came from other countries, and without them we wouldn't have a decent health service. We wouldn't have canals, we wouldn't have railways. They were built by immigrants who came into this country. The infrastructure would not be here. So we are a country that's been built by immigrants. So we need to defend people.
It is interesting because when you look at the country, at Sheffield, for example, you see, for example, the taxi drivers, the majority of them are from Pakistan, and we have lots of takeaway from India, Pakistan, Arab, and this amazing diversity. When you go to, as you said, in NHS, we have lots of people from Zimbabwe and Nigeria and different places coming to support and work in this country. And it's a code of beautiful communities, is the diversity, and we have to fight for our diversity. And I agree totally with you, Maxine. But the question which comes to my mind under the air, why do you think after the uprising, the Arab uprising, or we call it the Spring, Arab Spring, in 2011, we saw that the hate increased rapidly on the media. You can see, how they diverse people, how they divide people, how they differentiate between people, how the media is putting some points and leaving the majority of points, real points beyond the scene. They don't tell people about the truth. So do you agree with me that after the Arab Spring, there is a lot of hate speech started to increase in the media?
I mean, I was a strong supporter of the Arab Spring. I thought it was amazing that, dictators who'd been in charge for 40 years, for 35 years, were overthrown by ordinary people. Unfortunately, they didn't really win in the end, did they? That's the problem, that a sort of compromise was made by really the old leaders came back in through the back door again. And so the revolution that those people were putting forward didn't go to its full fruition. And when a revolutionary is defeated, they come back, don't they? They come back. And I think that's where the hatred's come from, really. The hatred has come out of that. And also, I mean, Syria, look at it makes your heart bleed, doesn't it, really, to see such a fantastic country that has just been completely and utterly destroyed, by Assad, really. Assad's refusal to accept that people it was a proper uprising that was taking place, and it's now fragmented all over the place, hasn't it? And I mean, I've always been of the position that I'm not in favour of intervention. And I know that's quite hard, because I remember when the Libyan situation was going on, I argued against intervention then. And people were like, how can you say that kind of thing? And I said, because I don't believe that the leaders of America or Britain are going to intervene with for honourable reasons. They're in it for their own interests. And look at the mess they've left in Libya. They've left a complete mess. And the same is true in Syria. And to be honest, part of the mess in Syria is to do with our intervention in Iraq in the first place.
That's correct.
We're the people who went into Iraq, and we're the people who've allowed ISIS to grow in Iraq.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the question is come to my mind also while you are speaking. You are speaking, I mean, these politicians, they speak all the time about immigrants and about refugees, but why the refugees would leave their country, like a beautiful country like my country, Syria, and I'm from there, and I would, from deep inside, I want to go back, and I want to enjoy my living there, my country, my people. Why would I want to come here and destroy all my history there if there is nothing really serious? So my question is to you, Maxine, how we can make a new rules of allocation. To be honest, I'm very concerned about the fact how the allocations happen, who are these people, how they came to the power, what is the role of the money. Because these rich people are coming to the power for their own benefit. They don't care about us, do they?
No, they don't.
They need the resources and they need the money. So, you remember in the speech I've done, that short speech, I said we don't want the law to be against the people. The law has been invented and created to be supportive to people, to make our life as a human being better, and to control the bad and keep the good. But I think that the law is working against the human now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, how do you think we can correct this fact? How we can put it in bring the good again to the scene?
I think that Trump, when he came to power, represents the politics of despair, really, and the politics of hate. The outpouring of anger that's come forward afterwards is the politics of hope. And I think there's a big battle going on between those two blocks of politics at the moment, and I think that the protests that have taken place here and the fact that people rush to the airports to allow the refugees in. I mean, where I work, we accept all the donations in for the group that collects for refugees, and there's been so much stuff coming in lately because the question of the refugees and the question of what's happening in the world is at the fore of people's minds. And that is the politics of hope, really. And I think that just like in the 1930s, when the system was in crisis, some people want to scapegoat and blame people. I listened to Trump talking about, you ain't got any jobs, the people who are taking your jobs are the immigrants. That's what he's saying.
Hmm.
It isn't true, by the way. This is just not true. But a very simple thing that they always put forward. I mean, I've always said to people that that's blatantly not true. But it's a very useful tool for the people who are rich, because while you fight amongst yourselves or fight with the immigrants, and you're not fighting them, and they're the people who are calling the shots, really. They're the ones who are making the decisions. And so it seems to me that if we fight Trump and we fight Theresa May at the same time, then we start to fight for a different kind of politics, because I don't believe we ever got anything, really, without a fight for it. And that's what we have to do now. And so I think it's good that people are starting to come forward. I mean, it's interesting you said about immigrants as well. Tomorrow is it's also a big national campaign called One Day Without Us, which is what would this country be like if none of us immigrants were here? And actually, if you started to take away the immigrants and they didn't work, there'd be nobody taking your taxis, nobody feeding you your food, there'd be nobody working in the hospitals, there'd probably be nobody driving your bus, there'd be, all those things. If there wasn't immigrants here, really, it would make a massive impact on everybody's lives. So we need to start to value and recognise them.
I think we need to say the facts. For example, I know lots of very high qualified doctors are from Iraq and Syria mainly.
Yeah.
So I was amazed when I knew that Manchester is running mainly Manchester Hospital and Hallamshire Hospital is running by very talented Arab and Asian doctors. So the question, if you are against these people, so who is going to replace their positions? And again, these immigrants who came from Syria recently, they are not very highly qualified, but they are going to do the labor job with lots of people. They can't do it. So again, I mean, how we can work together, Maxine. I understand that a lot of people are, supporting the position you are taking, and a lot of people are trying to come. And I remember that day in the city hall and the stands of the city hall, where a lot of people from different backgrounds. I was amazed. They were not only Muslim. You can see everybody there when we were speaking about the Muslim ban. Very, very different people from different backgrounds. They came together and they shouted for humanity. But the question which I would ask you, this is in Sheffield, how we can separate the word among the UK vaccine?
Yeah, well, you can get involved in Sheffield Stand Up to Racism. If you look at our Facebook site, or you can email Sheffield standuptoracism@gmail.com and get involved. We want more people involved. I mean, we're very diverse. We have like an open steering committee every month, and last year we raised, I think it was £5,500 in donations for refugees, and we organised the convoy to Calais, which took loads and loads of people. We actually didn't get over because they blockaded us and stopped us from getting in, but of course we did get the money over there. So we've done some stuff around the question of refugees, but also we're doing stuff around challenging every aspect of racism that comes up. So a lot of us will be in Rotherham next Saturday, for example, as well, because that's when the EDL are coming to Rotherham. But also come along to the protest tomorrow night. You know, it probably won't be the 3,500 we had. But we'll have a demonstration. It will be a family demonstration, really. We want the kids to have their placards as well, because we are all humans.
Yes.
And we want all our kids to be able to say we're human beings, and we want them to come along. So that's going to be 5 o'clock at Devonshire Green. We're going to be marching to the town hall. But also, if Trump does come to this country, whether it's London or Birmingham, we will be making sure there's a very big reception for him.
So I think he's not looking forward.
Well, that's why they tried to move him to Birmingham, isn't it? It does mean he's on the back foot, you know. We are having an impact.
That's correct. Recently, I had a speech with some Arab friends around, and they seemed in the side of Trump. In the sense they said Trump is preparing for a good movement against Iran. They said that Iran made a big mess in the Middle East. They look what Iran did in Iraq, look what Iran did in Syria, look what Iran did in Yemen, look what Iran did in Lebanon. So they are very angry with Iran, and I understand their position myself. But what the question is it the correct decision for them to support Trump because Trump is going for a war against Iran? What do you think?
I think they should never support Trump. Why would you support a man who has in his cabinet members of the Ku Klux Klan? If he's got people in the Ku Klux Klan, that means they ate all Arabs, I'm telling you. So the idea that you would line up with somebody like that really is silly, because in the end of the day, he will do you over as well. And we've seen people like this before, haven't we, in the past, who said they're on your side, but they're not. He's looking after his own interests. Read what he says. He says, America first. He's looking after America's interests. And I don't think most people from the Arab communities will like for 1 minute what he's doing in terms of Israel. I mean, he's supporting Netanyahu. He's supporting him to the hilt. He will be supporting one state for Israel to be in charge. That will be the destruction of the Palestinians. There'll be a big fight over that question, I'm telling you. And therefore, I don't think that they should have any truck whatsoever. Don't touch the man with a barge pole, I can tell you. He's not your friend.
No, he is not, because the first people to ban from accessing USA were Arabs and Muslims, so practically he's not a friend of us. And he was very clear about the fact, I like rich Arabs and I hate poor Arabs. He says
he likes everybody who's rich. He hates everybody who's poor. I know, but also he will chuck the Arabs out of his country as well. I mean, you know, he will be making them be on a register just as he does with anybody else. So don't be fooled.
Yeah, don't be fooled. That's very good word, actually, Maxine. And the question which comes to my mind now, how we can balance between the fact that we don't like what Iran is doing in the Middle East and the stance of Trump and ourselves as Arab and Muslim. What do you think we should do to stop all this going around? It's very complicated by the end of the day, I know, but I need to know, what is your opinion, Max?
See, I don't think Saudi Arabia are very good in the Middle East either. You know, they have a role to play in all these things as well. This is the people with money and power are playing things off inside the Middle East. And this has gone on for a long, long while, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And America has been, at one point in time, an ally of Iraq, at one point in time, an ally of Iran. Don't ever trust them. I think we have to rely on ordinary people, really. Ultimately, I believe in ordinary people's ability to change and shape their world without foreign intervention. Foreign intervention will never ever be used in the interests of ordinary people. Only the ordinary people can determine. I mean, I believe in self-determination of the ordinary people, and that is the only way forward, in my opinion. I think Saudi Arabia needs to get rid of the dictators in that country. I think dictators anywhere need to be got rid of, but they can only be done by ordinary people, not by somebody coming in from outside doing it on your behalf, really.
But the ordinary people tried in the Middle East hardly, Maxine, and you know that.
I know.
We lost a lot in Syria to get out that dictator, and they are what they're doing now in Asitana. They recycle the regime again, and to represent it to people as this is illegal, and they are supporting the Mastora. You see, the United Nations didn't do.
But I've seen there's been some massive demonstrations again in Egypt. So even though the establishment has taken control again, it isn't all over. There's been enormous demonstrations, the size like they were before, really, in Egypt. So I believe that things will not stay stable. And I don't know, I can't really... It's very difficult to know what's going to go on in Syria because there's so much... I mean, it's such a mess. The country's been completely destroyed. I mean, you know, the truth is that the West and Russia and other countries have been involved in arming the Assad regime and, you know, and making sure that Assad stays in control, haven't they? If it had been left we
will get rid of him easily.
Yes,
they
exactly.
left us alone. Yeah.
If they'd have left you alone... But the West were worried, weren't they, that they wouldn't be able to control what goes on in Syria any longer if another regime came to power.
Yeah, they were worried about Israel, weren't they?
Yes, exactly. And this is the problem. It's the machinations of the superpowers in the world that are constantly impacting upon the will of the people. And that's why for me, I suppose, you know, I live in this country and I have to fight my rulers. And of course, I will always support the Palestinians and stand up for the oppressed people. But I think the best service I can do is to fight my leaders in this country who have bad politics. And to encourage people in America to fight Trump because his politics will do nobody any good. And anybody else, really. So when the Egyptian revolution was taking place, I was supporting the Egyptian revolution.
I remember. You were amazing. And I was telling my people just before you come in that the first time I knew you, Maxine, was in the solidarity of Tal Al Malouhi. You remember that?
Yes, I do, yeah.
I was there by myself fighting for Tal Al Malouhi, and you came along and you supported me. And that was really amazing. What make me believe in you, Maxine, that you didn't have any intention, and I want you to tell people now through the air and through learning is gaining, what made you really stand for humanity? What makes you, as a Maxine, taking that position? Because I saw you in different positions myself. I saw you supporting Libyan, I saw you supporting Yemeni, I saw you supporting Syrian, and I saw when you were against the intervention in Libya, I saw you there. So I see you now against Trump. What makes Maxine that type of woman? Who is she now?
Well, I'd say I'm a socialist for a start off, and that means that I believe in human beings first and foremost, and I believe in putting people before profits and anything else, really. And I was wondering about where it all came from, and actually I come from a small place on the edge of Leicester, and my eldest sister has autism, and there was nobody who was there was only one girl in where I lived who was of colour, a black woman. And she was my sister's friend, because they were both bullied at school. And so I suppose I always stood for the people who were bullied or attacked. And I think that's probably where some of the passions come from. And then I suppose later on I've just got involved in socialist politics and thought that we have to fight to support the oppressed people across the world, because I just think we have a world that consists of enormous wealth, but it's in the hands of a tiny number of people, and there are massive poverty, which has been just typified by the refugee crisis, really. You know, thousands of people coming across, risking their lives, risking life and limb for a better life than the one they've got, fleeing our bombs, fleeing the poverty that we've created in a world of plenty. And there must be something better than this.
The question which comes to my mind, why people like you are not in the power to change what's happening?
Because I don't conform, really, I suppose. I don't conform to I speak for what I believe in, really.
So and people, they don't like this.
I think lots of politicians end up kowtowing. I mean, I like Jeremy Corbyn, actually, but I think he's been getting such an attack on him every time. They either attack him or they ignore him. One of the two.
Do you think that the people who have the truth, they will never get anywhere with this life? Do you agree with me? The people who say the truth, the people who express what they have in mind. Because I know you, Maxine, I know you I have similar mentality to you. I express what I have in mind. And I say what I have in mind. I'm not scared from my thought. I'm not scared from my idea, and you are the same. So why do you think people who are saying the truth and they standing clearly, they don't get anywhere with politicians?
Because the country's run by the people with power. And although it's a democracy, it's not completely democracy, really, because they still own the media, they own big business. We don't elect who runs big business. We don't have any say in those things. And most people are told all their lives that they're ignorant, stupid, they need the experts to run the world, And actually, they've got far more expertise than most of these people who say they're experts. So I have faith in people, actually, that people can change things. And as women, we wouldn't have had the vote in this country if it hadn't been for women fighting for it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was just given to us. It was given as a result of a fight.
Yeah, we had to fight for it.
Exactly. Equal pay. We wouldn't have had equal pay if we had to fought for it.
Yes.
I know we haven't quite got equal pay still, really, but
we still have to
everything that's been good, even the right to vote, was won not because some benevolent person came along and gave it to us, but because we fought for it. So even if I don't become some great politician elected into positions of power, that doesn't matter to me, as long as we fight to make sure that we shift and influence people. And I think lots of things that we've done has shifted and influenced things.
That's correct, Maxine. We have to go to the advertisement now in a few seconds, but you will stay with us a few more minutes to enjoy your speech. Thank you, Maxine.
Thank you.
Iman FM. This is Iman FM. You are listening Iman FM 103.1 FM.
सामीन अजीब का अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैं राजा खुशनूर खान पेश करता हूं प्रोग्राम मसला क्या है हर जुमारात शाम 6 बजे से 8 बजे तक जिसमें ज़ेर बहस आएंगे आइली मिली समाजी दीनी सकाफती कौमी और बैनुल-अक़वामी अमूर
Khan Solicitors, experienced criminal defense lawyers in defending your rights. We can assist you get the best possible outcome if you're involved in any criminal matters, including murder, drug offences, sexual offences including grooming, terrorism, fraud and money laundering. We can provide free advice and assistance 24/7 at the police station. Call us on 0114 258 3399 at 351 Abbeydale Road, Sheffield. Visit us at khansolicitors.com. Over 20 years experience in defending your rights.
क्या आप बच्चों की शादी के सिलसिले में परेशान हैं? क्या आप बर्तानिया में ही बच्चों की शादी करना चाहते हैं? क्या आप एक अच्छे रिश्ते की तलाश में हैं? अगर इन सवालों का जवाब हाँ में है, तो आपका मसला हल हो गया। बर्तानिया में रिहाइश पजीर आला तालीम याफ्ता किसी भी बरादरी के अच्छे रिश्तों के लिए आप राब्ता मैरिज हेल्पलाइन से इस टेलीफोन नंबर पर राब्ता कायम करें 0114 2425 400। राब्ता मैरिज हेल्पलाइन मुसलमान खानदानों को करीब लाने का राब्ता।
Coversure Insurance Rotherham are your friendly local brokers who can insure all your needs, whether it is for your own car, home or property you let. We also have specialist insurers for your shop, restaurants and takeaways. We can cover all aspects of the motor trade and we have some excellent rates for taxis, minibuses and commercial vehicles, including fleet policies. All written quotes can be beaten. Please call us today on 01709 556 230. We are open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Sheffield's finest buffet restaurant, Mirpuri Dera, reviving the taste of Asian subcontinent. Extensive buffet with more than 40 dishes.
नई इंतजामिया, नया साफ सुथरा माहौल, मुनफरिद खाने, 40 से ज़ायद डिशेस, पार्टी ऑर्गेनाइजर, मशरकी रवायात का अलंबरदार, हलाल फूड.
Mirpuri Dera, Stanifeth Road, Darnell, 0114 244 9199 under new management.
जेड़ा भी पाए एक बारी फेरा, वो आवे बार-बार मीरपुरी डेरा.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम हम आपके शुक्रगुजार हैं कि आपने अल हबीब वेलफेयर फाउंडेशन के साथ भरपूर तावन किया आपके ज़कात सदक़ात फिदिया और सदक़ातुल फ़ितर बगैर किसी कमी के हम इंतहाई गरीब पसमानदा इलाकों के यतीमों बेवाओं माज़ूरों और ज़रूरतमंदों तक पहुँचाते हैं अल्लाह ताला आपके तावन को कबूलियत का आला दर्जा अता फरमाए
For more information please contact Maulana Aslam Zaid on 0789 454 0303 alhabibwelfarefoundation.co.uk.
In a world where accident claims are poorly managed and the referral fees paid are so low, and just when all hope is lost in the city of Sheffield, a hero emerges. A hero so powerful, one phone number is all you need. A hero named Mr. Compensator. For your referral fee of £2,000, call Mr. Compensator now on 0114 3863 386. Terms and conditions apply.
Sheffield, Rotherham, across South Yorkshire. This is Iman FM on 103.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Again, you are reaching to the last half an hour with my show Learning is Gaining, and you are listening, of course, to Iman FM on 103.1 FM. And if you have any questions for my guest Maxine, you are welcome to ring on 0114-2425-200. 200. I'm losing my voice here. And the WhatsApp on 078855998786. Of course, we are live with Iman FM TV, and we are on Facebook at Iman FM Radio, and you can watch our YouTube channel on Iman FM, and you can follow us on Twitter at Iman FM 1031 and Skype Iman FM 1031. And we are reaching to the last 15 minutes of our interview with you, Maxine. As we are speaking, you were speaking that you did the demonstration tomorrow. The event tomorrow will be family event.
Yes, it will, yeah.
And it comes to my mind as well, because I had this conversation with my daughter. She's a teenager, and we were speaking about racism, and she mentioned that she recognized recently the increase of racism since, if I'm allowed to say this, between teenagers and in her school.
Yeah, I can imagine that's true as well.
Yeah, and it mentioned mainly the English girls, the English, the girls with the English background. And she said, Mom, I don't understand how the racism come to their house or to their minds, but what could I do to stop this kind of act or behavior, or whatever we can sense, if I'm allowed to say this. What do you think, Maxine, teenager girls or teenager boys, teenagerhood should do to stop this kind of racism?
I definitely think that it should be reported to the teachers, because I think that the schools should be teaching positivity around the question of diversity. And if there's a problem inside the schools, then they should be making sure that embedded into all of their classes is stuff about the great strength of diversity. I'm fairly sure that in this city, the National Union of Teachers would be very, very hard on the question of making sure that that they would want to see teaching that's about diversity and anti-racist practice. So, I mean, certainly if it's going on in any of the schools, I think speaking to the people who are in the NUT, they would definitely be pushing to try and make sure that there is, anti-racist practice in schools, because the National Union of Teachers is a strong supporter of Stand Up to Racism. I know quite a lot of the individuals who are inside of the NUT, and they also have a position on Prevent, which they don't like either. So I think it's quite important that if it's going on inside the schools, but also I think challenging it is quite important. I know it's quite difficult for youngsters to challenge it, but I think when people challenge it, they're always quite surprised by the response they get, because some people think it's acceptable behaviour. And when you challenge that behaviour, they're taken aback. I always remember when I was very young, shopping in Leicester Market, and I think I was buying coriander or something, and they said something like, oh, you're buying that packy food, are you? And I said, excuse me, I don't appreciate that racist language, cut it out. And the bloke was completely taken aback. And I think just challenging those ideas sometimes, I'm sure he'll think twice about saying that word again in future. And I think challenging people it's really the essence of trying to stop some of those bad practices creeping in, because it seems to me at the moment, because of the Brexit stuff, there's been an increase in racism, there's been an increase in racism around the Trump stuff. The racists feel a bit more confident. And that means they think they can say things and do things which are not acceptable. And we need to push them back down again. And that means we all have to challenge it, whether we're teachers, whether we're school students, or whether it's in our workplaces or generally. We need to speak up. And if we see somebody abusing somebody else, we should speak up against it. I'm horrified about women having their headscarf pulled off or spat at. Now, I'll tell you, if I saw somebody doing that, I'd be at them. I would go mad at them about it, because it's just not acceptable behaviour. And so I think we all have to take that view on it, really, because else it becomes... Sometimes people turn a blind eye to it as well, don't they? They don't challenge it. They think it's not their business. And obviously, with children, it is harder, isn't it? Yes. Because they get worried about being bullied and things like that.
That's correct.
But I definitely think try and challenge it, but also make sure you report it. And if we speak to the schools, I think the schools would not want that to be going on, really.
No. I mean, I think what we need to do as well, Maxine, as we are fighting and making this, as it was called, strong wall against racism.
Yes.
We should celebrate the diversity as well.
Yeah, definitely. And to educate people, to understand. I mean, what you said about how many people who work in the health service, doctors and people like that, are from Arabic countries or from India or wherever, right? Those people are incredibly important, actually, to the detriment quite often of their countries. I mean, I read somewhere that there's more nurses from the Philippines in this country than that actually is in the Philippines. But that's not good for the Philippines. But this is because of low-wage economies and all the rest of it. Actually, it's an honour that we have those people here looking after.
I mean, I don't understand, but it's the wealth of other countries who they came here.
Yeah.
And they are investing themselves in the communities to build up the country. And I think, as you said, we should celebrate these people, because these people are the people who spend a lot of their time, like previous history, in building up themselves. And they invested in themselves, and they came here to produce. They didn't came, as lots of people say, they came to take benefit and this and that. Well, you need to educate these people. You need to give them the chance to, celebrate what they have and to use what they have, so they wouldn't sit on the benefit, or they wouldn't use or be used.
It's that they always use this, don't they, to say people come here for our benefits. I mean, I noticed that to justify the cuts in the health service, the Tories have decided to start to talk about health tourism. Well, I'm telling you, health tourism isn't the reason why we've got problems in our health service. No. It's cuts in funding that's the problem, and privatisation and PFI contracts and all those things that leak money out of the health service that's the problem, not what they want to say.
No.
And they can talk about health tourism, but the people who are running our health service are people who are from other countries as well. So we need to get it right, really, don't we?
That's right. I really thank you for this honesty, Maxine, because the fact that they are trying to push people toward private clinics and private business more than taking the responsibility, and NHS should celebrate what they did after the Second World War.
It's one of the greatest achievements.
It is one of the, and it has been built by the migrants' hands, and they were the refugees who were able, and the Yemeni people who carried out the steel business in Sheffield. Everybody knows that, isn't it?
Well, they came and did all the jobs that people didn't want to do. I mean, even Enoch Powell, who was a right old racist, he went out to the Caribbean, invited people from the Afro-Caribbean community to come to this country to work on the buses in London. Yes. These people are hypocrites, aren't they?
And I don't understand, to be honest, you need, when you think about being racist, you need to read first the history, to not be ignorant.
Yes.
And use your ignorance to fight and take the side of racism, isn't it?
Yeah, so you need to know who your real enemy is, don't you? Don't start scapegoating and blaming somebody else.
These poor people who came and they left their country after it has been destroyed, basically, by the leaders here.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's right.
Maxine, the story is very long, and the details are very rich. This short time wouldn't be enough to have this nice conversation with you. I am sure I will have you again. And
Thank you.
Is going to speak more about how we can stand again as a humans together, hand in hand, shoulder by shoulder, to build a better life. I'm sure you have the final word here to say, Maxine, so I will give you the final word.
My final word is, don't be cowed by the racists. Come along tomorrow, come on the protest, join Stand Up to Racism, join the Stand Up to Trump coalition. if we stand together, we are many and they are few. They might have big mouths, but when we stand together, we can make a big difference, and we can push the racists back, and we can celebrate. I mean, I think that variety is the spice of life, and we really should be standing together. And so 5 o'clock tomorrow at Devonshire Green, and if you've got a placard, make your own placard. And if you want to say something little about, you know, we're human beings and we should be respected, those kind of things, then we'd like to have lots of little bits where people just say a couple of sentences, and it'd be fantastic to get more people from different communities along.
So guys, tomorrow the Venture Green with Maxine and all the people like Maxine. I'm going to be there as well myself. We are going to show solidarity for our human being. We are going to celebrate the the variety, and we are diversity, the spices.
The spice of life.
Yeah, the spice of life. We are going to celebrate it tomorrow with a very nice event with Maxine. Thank you very much, Max, for being with us
Thank
today.
you very much, Shahd.
And I'm really glad to have you today, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My people, we will go to this nice nasheed listening together to it, and then I will come back to you to finalize the show. I shall thank Maxine very, very hard. And I'm very happy to have her today, because Maxine were able to say what we have, everyone in our, every one of us has in mind. Maxine said what we are thinking about, and she expressed the reality of how the politicians are making the decisions and who is running the countries around the world. Actually, I would like to comment on today's show, and I would like to point some really important messages Maxine sent. The first message I would like to emphasize on the event's going to be in the Venture Green tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and it's not going to be for long. It's only a couple of hours maybe, and then we will stand all together tomorrow to show our solidarity to the humanity. We are standing against Trump, not for a politician position, not for any kind of economic or whatever positions. We are standing there because we are against what Trump is doing in a human sense. We are against abuse, we are against racism, we are against banning people just for ethnicity background or for their ethics, their mental, their ethical background, or for where they come from. I am sure that if, for example, Trump was banning someone else except not Muslim, I will stand, and I'm sure Maxine will stand against him, because the idea is against the humanity. So we are standing tomorrow in the Venture Green, not for any reason except showing solidarity to our humanity. Again, I'm so sorry today because I'm not feeling very well, and I'm trying my best to present and communicate with you guys. So if I made any mistakes, so please forgive me. I'm not in my best health. So this is the first message. Is in the Venture Green tomorrow, the demonstration against Trump, and then it's going to be between 5 until 7 o'clock. Maybe we'll finish before 7 a little bit. We are expecting you guys to come and show your solidarity to your humanity. The second message is celebrate the diversity of Sheffield. What I was really amazed by when I first came to Sheffield in 2005, that the amount of different people from different background living in Sheffield and communicating together, and how many languages are there in Sheffield. You can hear Somali, you can hear Arabic, you have here English, Spanish, Kurdish, every language you can hear it in Sheffield while you are walking in the streets, and you can see people from different background, different colors, working together, communicating together, and bringing Sheffield together. This is amazing. This is what is a human being. It's very. I was in this day, today in my way to the radio. I was passing by Tesco in Spittal Hill, and I was very interested with the photos and this advertisement they did. You can see the colors of people are different. The mentality, you can see the way they were presented in different ways, and we should, as a human beings, enjoy this diversity. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إنا جعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. So Allah, when He created us from different, different people, like different colors and different ethnicities, just to know who has the best taqwa. It's not to make it an excuse for more hate, and it's not to make it excuse for crimes. It's not to make it excuse to dominate a specific race, or it's not excuse to for killing. It's not excuse for division. It's silly, to be honest. And I will tell you a story. I have a specific condition in my eye called cornea caries, and I was planning to implant a cornea. So the doctor said, we need to check your DNA to see. This is the time for Salha, I think, in a few minutes. So the doctor said, we need to check your DNA to see if the cornea which we are going to implant is going to suit you, the atmosphere, the environment. So they took cultural environment from my corneas and they implanted somewhere, and they found first they had to check my DNA, and they found in my DNA different 12 genes differences, different genes in my DNA. Some of them is go back to Balkan, to Russia. Some of them go back to Turkey. Some of them Arabs. So I was so amazed when I knew I'm not pure Arab. I'm not pure Turkish. I'm not pure Balkani. I am from all my genes. My DNA has different genes from different places around the world, which means there is no pure race. There is nothing called pure race. We are mixed. We are mixture of genes. Our parents, our granddads, our dads, they went from place to place. They immigrated and they mixed, and they, we are who we are now. So there is no pure human from pure. There is no pure Pakistan, pure Arabs, or pure Balkani, or pure Russian, or pure English, or pure American. There is nothing pure nowadays. We are all mixed, and this means that we are at the end of the day only human, and we have to celebrate this, and we have to enjoy it, and we have to work with this fact, and support and show solidarity to our humanity. The third message which I like to talk about today is or to emphasize after my conversation with Maxine is that if you saw any type of racism or any type of racist activities or any kind of racist sense, so just fight it back and challenge it. Do not stay silent and say this is not my business. No, it is your business. And do not take sides to any race. Be human, and if someone did wrong, do not take their side because they are from your from your country or from your tribe or from your family. No, stand for the correct, take the correct stand, and this is what Allah will ask you about. From Islamic perspective, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ didn't take the side of Quraysh, although he wasn't from Quraysh. He didn't take the side of his family, although the majority of them they weren't Muslim. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ took the side of the Muslims and their religion. He took the side of right, regardless any other facts. So this is what we should do. We should take the side of right, regardless any other facts. What I think also we need to do as the Muslims, we have to emphasize on the fact that when Allah created the world, He created it from Adam and Eve, and all the people in the world are from Adam and Eve. So it's a pointless case. We are all sisters and brothers, regardless where we are from and what race we are belong to, and what ethnicity we are belonging to. So please keep this in mind, guys. And subhanallah, I would say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates devil. Shaitan hates the devil only for one reason. That reason is that Shaitan say خلقته من طين وخلقتني من نار. You created Adam from soil, and you created me from nar. So he differentiates himself. Shaitan differentiates himself from a human and use that against the humans, and Allah hates him for that reason. My final message to you guys, that take the right side, make the decision, and live the life as should be lived. We live only life one, and the diversity is the spice of life. Because we are diverse, we are beautiful, and if it was only white or black, we will hate it. But Allah created all colors in the world in different ways and different shapes, because He wanted us to learn that diversity is a beautiful art of life. So please enjoy your diversity and fight for your diversity against racism, and be with us tomorrow in the Fenchar Green. I will see you tomorrow inshallah, and I hope you enjoyed the show today with Maxine and myself. By the end of the show, I say Alhamdulillah, may Allah give us all the strength, and Alhamdulillah, Allah give me the strength today to present, and inshallah we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh from Shahd Salha.
From the mountains of Makkah to the hills of Sheffield, you are listening to Iman FM on 103.1 FM.
कोई गुजरे हुए कल की बात करता है तो कोई आने वाले कल की बात तार चौधरी आपके लिए लाता है प्रोग्राम आज की बात ज़ेरे बहस आते हैं मकामी और बैनुल अक़वामी हालात हर सोमवार दिन 1:30 बजे सिर्फ ईमान एफएम पर